Go.
All right. And this is our setup here. We use Mr. Christmas. It was originally designed basically, I guess, for probably around 10,000 lights, probably at the maximum. Modified the unit that we bought. It now runs 4 Mr. Christmases simultaneously. These are the control boxes here. They send wireless signals to the from the box to these and then to the lights. That determines what lights come on with the music, and that's what makes them blink and move to what you see at night.
And so you've got looks like every pole.
Yeah, we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, basically 16 control boxes running about, I'm going to say probably 5,000 to 6,000 feet of extension cord, a little over a mile. The little gray box is actually the brain, and I actually went into the control box itself and modified the little board inside to run my FM transmitter, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But the little gray box down there does most of the work. The thing I like about this system is it's pre-programmed, so I don't have to program the music. All I have to do is figure out how I want the lights to move and then adjust the wiring to do whatever I want to. A little bit of footage.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, this is what a lot of people won't show you on their light shows. This is the kind of mess you get when you're running a light show this big. There's just no way to keep it all hid neatly. This is the speaker wire that runs the external speakers out at the street, so people who may not have a car radio can hear the speakers and see the music move to the lights. This is the wire that goes into the FM transmitter, and then this is a conglomerate of wires that are coming from the control box to the lights themselves.
Sure, go.
All right, this is one of the things that you don't see a lot of times. This is the resetting up of everything. Everything is constantly getting knocked over, and you have to readjust it. Just the wear and tear of the life, I guess, of the lights. Our dog is constantly knocking the lights over. It's just part of what you have to do when you have a Christmas show this big, is you're constantly resetting stuff up.
Okay.
One of my favorite things, a lot of people don't like it, are the falling leaves, because what you don't see is the falling leaves cover all of this mess up, and it really hides it pretty well if you'll just leave it alone and let nature take its course. This is our mega tree. I got this idea. I've seen other people that had them. I didn't know how they designed theirs, and I didn't go online to look and see how they designed it. Being a builder, I said, you know what, here's what I'm going to do to make mine work. I put a clip in the side over there with a screw, so I can undo this around the bottom, drop it down, and I can undo that around the top and just take it apart. And basically I have 2 components that stay hooked together year round, and that's this and that. The lights will lower down, and I just throw it in the storage. This is just this tree alone is 2,000 LED C7 bulbs.
Start over.
All right. One of the things that was asked is, what is your favorite part of the Christmas light show? Mine definitely is the Christmas trees. The way they move and the way they look at night, to me, is just absolutely beautiful. In the daytime, you see they're just plastic trees on metal stands. The way I make these work is I drive basically 2-foot iron rods into the ground, and then I modify the bottom of the trees where they would slide over those. That keeps them from moving in the wind. And there's basically 600 to 800 lights per tree. But at nighttime, you would think it was a whole lot more than that. But I think it's 600 to 800 lights a tree. Looking, you can see up top there, Santa Claus stays up from about, he stays up from, I guess, around, October, say, 15th until after Christmas. And the reason is we can't deflate him because he'll get tore up on the roof from the wind. So Santa Claus is one of the things that stays on day and night, that people see our house from a long ways away because of Santa Claus being up there. I guess he's probably, to the top of his head, is probably near 36, 40 feet. And our manger scene, one that does deflate on the ground, you can see, which is, for us being a Christian, is one of the things we struggle with, is our manger scene does deflate during the daytime, which we catch a little grief from our Christian friends about. But you can't leave this stuff on all the time. Your electric bill would be unaffordable. So our manger scene gets deflated during the daytime. It comes on at about 5:45, 6 o'clock. One of the things that I do like to do is when I'm doing the wiring sequences, A lot of the times I like all the same color lights to come on at the same time. You know, like the whole house will go green and the trees will go green and the house will go red and the trees will go red. It looks really pretty at night. And then it'll off sequence some too, but when it all goes one color, to me it just looks very pretty. John, these are the system we chose to use.
Hold on, I didn't start.
You ready? All right. This is the speaker system we chose to use for our outdoor music. It's the rock style design and kind of camouflages it. It makes the yard look less messy, if that's possible, for a display of this size. But this really helps people who may not have good reception in their car with their car stereos and stuff like that. They can still hear the music. And actually, a lot of times the kids will get out and we have them dancing in our yards, which you'll look around during the daytime, you'll see that lights have fallen and stuff like that. A lot of times they're kicked over by our visitors. Which I have to set one up, I see right there. You doing the work here. All right, all of us Christmas lights show guys we're all amateurs seeking to be professionals. That's what it really is, no matter what your background is. I'm a licensed builder, but still, with all the knowledge I have, there's still so much more I'm learning. This is our sign for our FM transmitter, and it reads real nice now. It says lights to music and gives you the radio station to tune to. But the funniest story about this sign is, the original one, when we went to have one made, it said, funny thing, songs to music. And when we got the sign, of course, we looked at it and we said, that's not right. So we had a new sign made up, but they did exactly what we asked them to do. We just didn't think it all the way through. And like I said, it's always something in progress. So you learn as you go. And what works for people as they come by. And most people they read this and they immediately tune to their car radios. All right, I'll turn it on. I'll tell you a funny story. So we was talking about Santa Claus earlier. A couple of years ago, we had a very big windstorm. And Santa Claus had basically his whole bottom ripped out, and a friend of ours had to sew him back together. I spent about 4 hours trying to figure out how the lights inside of him went back in. And I blew him up inside the house testing him and knocked off all my wife's Christmas stuff off the mantle. I was in the doghouse for about 2 days. All right, Timmy, all right, if you look closely, the black wire running up the side of the chimney, I don't know how good you guys can see that, but that black wire that runs up the chimney runs to our antennas. That's our FM transmitter. Depending on where you're at in location to our house, it will reach about, maybe a half a mile. It's not real strong, but it works real good if you're close to the house, and so people can be entertained. But sometimes it goes a little further. I guess it has something to do with the weather. I'm not an engineer when that comes to that, but sometimes it does a little better than a half mile. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the things that I've done that help me to do a better show each and every year, because you don't have more and more time to dedicate to it. You have to do better with your time. If you look up, it may be hard to see, but all the windows have external frames, and the lights are attached to the windows, and then those frames are stored during the off season, so that every year when Christmas comes around, first year I did the upstairs frames, and then this year I did the downstairs frames, so that next year I won't have to frame any windows on the house. All I have to do is basically get the frames out of storage and to put them on the house, which my family's told me I should patent. So you may be seeing these in a store nearby. But that helps me to do more stuff in the yard and be more creative and make things like the mega tree and design better systems. This year, like I said, we're using Mr. Christmas. Next year, we're going to go to Light-O-Rama. So we'll be able to do a lot more with it. What that does, John, I'll tell you when you're ready. Because of its limitations with Mr. Christmas, what we did, because we only have 4 channels to work with, is we wire in sequence every other tree to make the effects that you'll see at night, where every other tree will be green or every other tree will be red. To make the sequences work better and to look more spectacular, we wire every other tree, since we only have 4 channels to work with, even though we have 60 control boxes. This is our candy cane that we've created, and our local utility company has so delightfully given us use of their pole here that I have never asked for, but apparently they don't mind it too much with our Christmas light show. But I basically took out a piece of a 4x8 sheet of plywood, cut out 2 small candy cane shapes at the top, and then wrapped it with lights. It's one of the easiest things that I've done, but it's a lot of people, they say this is their favorite thing. Every year I tell myself that I'm going to make the loop bigger, and I never have the time. So this is I think the 3rd year that the candy cane has looked like this, but people love it. One of the things that me and my wife found in a storage unit that we bought, if you ever seen those guys do that on TV, we did that for fun for a couple months, and we found our Christmas countdown, which we were looking for one of these things forever, and we found it in an old storage unit, and we have it set up in our master bath window. And it's really neat. It counts down to the 2nd until Christmas. Or until our electric bill causes the house to explode. I don't know, one of the two. So there it is. And my wife calls this gentleman in the window, she calls him Creepy Santa, because most people don't realize that he's watching them until it's too late. Also, I want to talk about one of the things we do. We do a toy donation for needy families. Last year we helped 8 families with the toys that were donated from the people in the community. So it was a real blessing. And we also give out candy to kids who come and visit, take pictures with Santa Claus December 8th and December 9th of every year. But the toy donation is a really big deal. It's really a blessing to be able to help those who are struggling during these economical times, and to be a part of that, be a part of their Christmas, and to see how it touches their families is really an awesome thing. This is the casualty of war with the winds that we have a lot of times here in the South. I know y'all get them up north pretty good too, but or maybe even out west, I don't know. It's just I've lived here most of my life. I've lived up north for a couple of years. I know they have some pretty good winds up in Pennsylvania where I live. But this is a casualty of war where this thing is we've tried to repair it a couple times for the wind and blowed it out of the tree. But anyway, so it's just part of it, I guess. This is our donation for our electric bill. We didn't have one of these up, I guess, the first couple of years we did this. And really never thought about how people wanted to have a part of what we were doing. And I guess after about the 30th person coming by and saying, do y'all take donations towards your electric bill? We said, well, we never really thought of it. And everybody kept saying, well, you should. So we put this up, and you'd be surprised as people are real generous. We've only had, I think, a couple people really be kind of scroogey about it. But the thing about it is they think it was our idea. It was actually the people who were coming visiting the house that wanted to donate. So appreciate all those that have done that, and it does help. You know, every year it gets bigger and bigger, so it gets more and more expensive, and it lets me be able to provide a good Christmas for my family inside. Otherwise, their Christmas would be lights. So thank y'all for that, and thanks for all those who gave us the idea.
Go.
Everybody asks always, what is your electric bill? And I tell them, well, it depends. And they say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, it depends on how much my wife makes me leave the lights on, because she is just as much a light nut as I am or more. She wants these things running by November 1st every year. So depending on how much they run, that determines the electric bill. And each year, even though we put more and more lights up, it's hard to determine because we try to go more and more green, LED lights and things like that, so we can make a bigger show. We're limited here. We only have 150 amps of electric power to this house, and we're running a huge light show for a 150 amp panel. I've estimated from what I know about contracting and being a builder that we have about 110 amps of electricity out in the yard and about 40 amps in the house. And so while the lights are running at night, we have to eat out because the electric range will not work. So it is a lot of electricity. And generally, I didn't see the bill this year yet, so we'll get to talk to my wife when she gets back. But I think it's about $600 a month this year just for the lights. And that's with about 60% of it being LED, so it's a lot. We're gonna go over some of the homemade stuff. I know my wife's not here, so I can say whatever I want, but she'll kill me next year or something whenever this show comes on. But she made this North Pole sign, and in the daytime, I really think it looks pretty cool. I wish that she had used a different color board, but that's all we had at the time. But at night, you can see some lights there that I've told her to tape up or cover up or something. But she loves making these homemade decorations, and it really looks good. She gets a lot of compliments on it, but I'm picky in some things, just like everybody else. You're picky at some things, but maybe not at everything. So to me, I was like, maybe that looks a little corny, but she really loves it. I hope I don't get divorced. About twice a year, we get friends and family together. You'll see some wood and stuff in the yard. We have a big kickoff party for our friends and then family separate because so many people come. And we do hot dogs and weenie roast and s'mores and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised how many people who are just driving by, they see all these people gathered and they just get out their cars and just come on in. And it's really kind of cool how that, I guess, just the spirit of Christmas makes people feel welcome. And next thing you know, we're sitting around with 10 or 12 people that we just met who are sitting with my family or my friends and eating s'mores and hot dogs with us, and it's really neat. Tell me. Santa Claus and Rudolph up here were donated by one of my customers, good friends of mine. And last year we had them sitting in the yard I took tubes of copper, drove in the ground and put them in the yard, and they look pretty neat. And then this year I decided to hang them up. And so if anybody wants to donate, we need 11 more reindeer, I believe. I think this set they're antique now, and you really can't find them. And it really looks cool at night because it really looks like it's flying, and the kids love it. We've had several kids really go crazy here at night. We had one of them that was convinced Santa Claus lived here, and her mother was literally driving away with a little girl with her head stuck out the window so her mom couldn't roll the window up screaming. It was really cute. But anyway, she was very much convinced that this had to be Santa Claus's house. And Santa Claus is definitely, the spirit of Santa Claus is here, but Santa Claus still lives in the North Pole. It's a little warm here right now where I guess it's November, and you see I'm in a short sleeve shirt, and you can actually get a little sweaty even today. But there he is. I need 11 reindeer. Yeah, this was donated. It was a really cool little thing. And this year I wanted to hang him up. I used just bungee cords to tie him up there. This is a frame that I built. And this collapses down into 3 small pieces this away. So basically the storage area is about this wide by about that thick, which makes this huge frame store real easy. So it's kind of a unique design that I created to make it work. And but it sure makes easier Christmases every year. And basically this here just screws and mounts to the frame of the door, and really neat how it works. And then next year I won't have to build these, and I'll have a lot more time to do stuff in the yard. Tell me when. All right, most of all the things that you see down low were done by my wife. She does almost all this low work herself, so that I'm able to do the windows and the mega trees and stuff that requires you to be up tall or on a ladder. But my wife does all the things down low. People say, who is your biggest help? And it really is my wife, Stephanie. She lines up all the islands and does all that. And every once in a while we'll have some kids in the neighborhood who will come help. Last year they helped a lot more than they did this year because I guess they're getting to be teenagers now, and they're more into their iPhones and stuff like that and texting than they are to helping us hang Christmas lights. But most all the low work you see done here was done by my wife and our 2 kids. And today she's not here while we're filming this because she is actually, her and my daughter are at New London Theater, local theater in Snellville, doing the Christmas Carol. So we really try to get into the Christmas spirit and involve our community, and we have a real great community here, and we're appreciative for that.